All right, this is John from the red corner.
And this is Daniel from the blue corner.
And we are back with our top 50 list, and this is the big one.
This is the one everybody is waiting for.
Yes, everybody. I think the entire industry, from what I've heard.
That's what I heard.
Everybody been waiting for the top 10.
I mean, I got in like 10 calls that said, when are you releasing your number one?
Wow, really?
From like people like Tom Vassell and Dan King. I know, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. This has been great.
Because a lot of people are in the industry, before they finalize their own list, they like to see what we have going on. Because they don't want to be out on the, on the boundaries.
We are influencers.
Yes, there you go.
That's right.
That's what it is. Wow.
You know, in all seriousness, John, the reason it's funny, like, other than that these lists are fun and people do like to watch them, I was looking at some other channels who started about the same time we have, and I noticed, I was like, well, what are their, like, how do they have more subscribers than us? And one of the things I noticed was that they get so many views for their top 10 games of all time.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was like, John, we gotta do our top 10 games.
Oh, there we go. And now we're there.
So that you can subscribe. So please subscribe.
Subscribe.
Also, forgot to talk about this. Do you remember our contest that we're doing?
I do remember.
Yeah, we forgot to be telling people about this. So if you leave a comment in this video, you will be entered into a contest that every 200 subscribers we get, we will be giving out a new game, the drawing from the different videos.
One of our favorite games.
That's right. So the first one is Marvel Champions, and then the second one's going to be like Power Grid or something like that. But yeah, so leave a comment and you'll automatically enter to win a game. So
awesome.
and subscribe, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
But it doesn't cost you any money.
Yeah, and also share. Because if you share, sharing is caring, and if you share, we can grow our reach even further.
And give away more games.
Even more games. Because we like to bribe you to watch us.
We've been accused of that.
We have been accused of that.
Nefarious. All right, let's get on to it, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
Number 10. This is not going to surprise you at all that this is number 10 on my list.
Okay.
This game, from the moment I played it, I knew I must have this game and I must have the deluxe version from the first time I played it. That game is Canvas. Canvas is an amazing card set collection type game. And another one where the theme just absolutely comes through, where you're getting these different aspects of art to build a painting with. You've got a background and you've got to layer it with 3 and only 3, Daniel.
Only 3.
Only 3 clear cards that go over each other. And depending on what order you put them on there, different symbols are going to be showing at the bottom. And and then you only do 2 things on your turn, or one of 2 things. You're either going to get another card from the display or you're going to present. And once you have 5 cards, your next turn you have to present. And so you're trying to fulfill different goals that the art world is looking for in your painting. That's the theme of it. They want this, they want this, they want this. And so if you fulfill what everybody wants, you're going to get a lot of points for that painting. And it's so good. I just love this game. And I love it with the expansion where it has an actual board. The first one, it's fine. It comes with a canvas because that's thematic. You have a canvas that you put everything on. That's kind of cool. But the second one has a board. And I love the board. And I love that it gives you more options as well because you have 2 different rows to choose from. It does cost you more inspiration, but at least you have more options. And the other thing it gives you is reversible cards. Okay. So it gives you more options on how you place them in your painting. So you're not as limited with that. And you can always play with that or without that or what have you. So with new players, you might be like, we'll just disregard those cards as they come out. So you're not complicating things. But it also has new ways of scoring. And so, and then it even has, you can have a contest at the end, whoever has the best painting. So then we'll always, somebody that's not playing, we'll all pick what our best painting is. And we'll give them to them and have them decide. And then, so you can be like a co-winner. Or you can win both. You can be a two-time champion if you win both. If you win the game and win the best, and then the deluxe one comes with an actual ribbon you can wear. So,
wow!
So if you won that, you can just wear that the rest of the night. Yeah, but remember, who had the best painting? I know I stunk at Terraforming Mars, but look at this.
But look at this.
I got the best painting.
I combined 3 cards really well.
I was the best 3-card combiner. There you go. Canvas. Love that game. I've loved every play of it. I don't know if Daniel's as high on Canvas as I am.
No, it's fine, but it's a set collection game. I don't know. I mean, this is theme, right? That's why it excels so much for you.
It's many things. It's the theme. It's the implementation of the theme. It's how quick the game is. And it's the decisions that you have to make because you can be like, well, do I want to go all in to get that thing that's going to help me now? But I'm going to be hosed my rest of my paintings. I'm going to have no influence, no inspiration to move up. So, there's a lot of different things to think about as you're making your paintings.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds good.
Yep. So that's
I won't make fun of your top 10.
Thank you.
yet.
Yet. We're getting there.
All
What's
right.
your number 10,
Oh,
Daniel San?
Your number 10, you're just going to love. Actually, I think
okay.
you've had a roller coaster with this game.
Oh, really?
And that is...
Well, it can't be Heat.
It can't be Heat, because that was on my last list. This game is Great Western Trail.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
I gotcha.
And you might be a little surprised that this is on my list, because you don't see me playing it very often. Well, the thing is, when this game first came out, me and Andy played it a couple times. I fell in love with it and discovered we were playing it wrong. Yeah, we thought... So the whole point of the game is you...
Didn't you make it harder?
Well, we made it
Yeah.
so much
Oh,
harder.
man.
So the way you play it is that you are... you have a hand of cards that are your cattle, and you're trying to get your cattle from Kansas City to Chicago and get it onto the train. Choo choo.
Yep.
And you're placing buildings that are uniquely yours, and you jump on your building, activate it to take actions, all that good stuff. One of the things you do is discard cattle because you want unique cattle in your hand by the time you get there. So what we did is we didn't think you could draw your hand back up. So when we were discarding cows, we never refilled our hand.
Gotcha.
So we were just getting rid of cows left and right and all that stuff, and it was still fun. But it was hard to get to the table.
Oh, I bet.
So played it a couple more times with the Evans because it's one of their top 10 games. And man, every time I play this game, I'm like, I forgot how good this game is. It just is exciting. You do some fun things with the deck building. You care about where you're at on the board. It is a rondelle game because you are actually moving. Yes, it is.
If you're a fan of rondelles, don't play this because it's a rondelle, because it's not.
It is a rondelle. You
Okay,
have
then-
actions on the board. You have to choose to stop on them or pass them, and you have to go through the entire board before you can restart and do it again. That is the definition of rondelle.
Monopoly is more of a rondelle than this game.
Your mom is a rondelle. Okay, this game is great. I love it. Every time I play it, I like it even more. It was on my top 10 list like right away. Hadn't been like 2 years since I played it, so it fell off. Came back on because I just played this game maybe like 3 weeks ago, and it was fantastic. Love Great Western Trail.
Great Western Trail was one of those games. The reason he says I've been split on this game is because I had played it several years ago by someone that explained it very poorly, in my opinion. No, he's a good friend of mine, so I'm not going to call him out. But explained it, I mean, without include. I like theme in my explanations.
You
I
do
mean,
like
fair
theme.
enough. And when you have theme built into the explanation, you understand why you're doing things.
True. That's true.
And there was none of that in the explanation. Like, you're going to get these cards, you're going to do this, you're going to go here. If you want to do this, you do this. If you go to this, you go there, and then that moves, and then you do this. I'm like, okay, that sounds amazing. And that's what I did, and I didn't like it at all. And so we were going to play. If those of you might not know, we have a little segment on our show called Great Game Debate, where we take a game that most people consider great, and we discuss it, and we like to have at least one person that doesn't think it's a great game, or at least that's mad on the game, just to make it interesting. Not that we conjure that up. No. It's just we pick games that...
Yeah,
that
we literally
automatically fit in
sit
that
there and go,
category.
what games are we split on?
Yeah, exactly. And this one we thought we had in the bag because I hated it so much. And we're like, I'm like, in all honesty, just to refresh my memory, I need to play it again before the show. I come right here to this I think it was in this very chair.
This very chair.
And we played it again. And halfway through the game, Daniel looks at me. He's like, "You're enjoying this game, aren't you?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Daniel, but I really am enjoying this game." I'm as disappointed as you because I wanted to rail in this game so much. But once you get into the theme and everything, it's a really good game. It really shines. I can't say anything bad about it, other than it's not in my top 10.
Yeah, well, there you go. But it's in mine.
There you go.
We all know mine is the better one.
Okay.
My number 9
Yes.
is a game I like to say feels like an Uwe Rosenberg, but it is not. And that is Clans of Caledonia. This one is funny. I backed it on Kickstarter, and it stayed on my shelf of shame for years.
Lucky.
And then last year I played it, and I was like, this game is so good. It is an economic area control game that plays in like under 2 hours. These are two...
Don't seem like it.
Oh, it does. And it's what's really cool about this area control is that it's not the biggest area. It's as sprawled out as you are. So essentially every area that counts has to be broken up by a river. So if you have your things are connected and it's broken up by 1 river, 2 river, 3 rivers, now you have 3 or 4 sections, and then the most sections actually win the game. So there's, posturing of how you're going to put out your guys that, generate the resources, and how you're going to generate the cows and the wheats and all that stuff, and you put it on the board and you're blocking people as you're doing that, and all the while you're also buying stuff from the market, and as you buy it, it becomes more expensive because it's scarce, and then you can sell it back to the market, which then it becomes cheaper to buy and cheaper to sell because there's too much in the market. And you're doing all of this in the guise of fulfilling orders, because economic games, you got to fulfill orders. And
true.
This game is great. It is wonderful, and I would say if this was a 3-hour game, I would like it. Not a top 10, but it is the speed,
the brevity.
Yes, it's how much you can get out in just one play and a quick play of it. It just makes it shine. So Clans of Caledonia, so glad I got it played last year. It was last year. Yeah.
Okay.
So
did you play your copy?
I did.
With whom?
Well, I've played it with a lot of people at this point.
Okay. You played a lot.
I played it with Kelly. I played it with Andy.
Okay.
I played it with the Evans. I've played it with Chris. Played it with everybody. Did I play it with you?
The Evans are like a common family group of us that we all know, so we kind of throw that name out every once in a while, like they're part of the show, but they're not. But
they're part of our hearts.
There you go. No, I played it one time, and that was at Andy's house, and he built it up so much, and I don't know, it's an okay game. I mean, I like it okay.
Yeah,
but he hates when I say a game is themeless, because to me it felt like themeless.
It's a farming game. Like how
so much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess
it doesn't really feel much different than a lot of other games. But
okay.
I mean, I see what you're saying. It's a decent game.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't enjoy it.
I thought you hated. This game.
I don't hate
okay.
it. It's just nothing pulling me back to play it
good.
again. But I would play it.
Except for me, I'm going to pull you back.
There you go. That's
Make
the pull
you
right there.
That's right. What's your number 9, John?
Let me tell you about my number 9.
Yeah.
My number 9 is actually sitting right on the shelf over there. Woo. How about that? Now Daniel's trying to figure out what it is. There you go. No, it's not Stuffed Fables. I actually discovered this game at Daniel's house. And I said, why do we never play this cool-looking game on your shelf? And he's like, I don't know. Well, I guess so he taught it to me wrong, and we played it, and I still liked it.
As usual.
Yes. And that game is City of Spies.
Oh, yeah.
1942. And it's a really cool, and it's thematic too. Yeah. It's a thematic game about having control over different spies, and I guess historically, Estoril, Spain, España, was infiltrated with a lot of spies in 1942. And so they're all from these different nationalities and such. And at the end of the game, it's like one of those games where you're building your hand, basically.
Yeah.
Like
you're going to score 6 tiles, and you have an entire game to get the best 6 tiles.
The best 6 tiles in your hand. And there's all these different goals. You're probably not going to be able to meet all the goals.
No.
Somebody's going to beat you on those. But all the tiles are also worth so many points in and of themselves.
Yep.
Usually those ones that are worth a lot don't have really good abilities. So you're like, well, I want this guy because he can kill 2 people in one turn. But he's only worth a point. But he also is an American, and you get points for an American.
So there you go.
So maybe I'll do that.
America.
And so if you kind of go a direction that way, and you're like, oh, well, let me get another American then. So you want to be the best at a couple of the goals maybe, and then also have some good points in your hand at the end of the game. So yeah, it's one of those things where you're vying for different spies that are available in the different parts of the city, and then at the end of the round you got to discard down to your same number. And so the ones that you have, I think, are still worth 1 point at the end of the game. Ones that you discard, but they're not worth the points on them.
Correct.
So you're going to immediately discard the ones that you started with that are worth 0 anyway. So, but it's so many cool decisions, so many funky things going on with it, because things are going to generate, things are going to reveal in different orders each time, and you have the buildings are different setup each time, and might be different buildings out there.
Yeah, because every location has like a quadrant, and then you play in which quadrant, and each quadrant does different things. So you may not even play in this quadrant this time, so you don't get that ability. So it's a clever little game. I guess I'm surprised that it never really took off. I looking at it, I don't know why people would be hesitant to get it or whatever. It looks cool. It plays fun. I mean, it's a little take that-y, I guess. Maybe that's why.
I guess. But I mean, it's really just, you don't know. Sometimes you're just, well, I really hope when he reveals that person, it's X and not whatever. But I mean, it's a possibility of whatever's going to be out there. So, so it's I don't know. I've never not enjoyed it. Even games I haven't won, I have a great time playing it. Usually have one or two really good moments where you're like, I'm going to pull you over here, so now I can win this, and then, whatever. So, yes. City of Spies. Very good game. That is my number 9.
Good pick. Good pick,
John. Thank you. All right, number 8 on my game is from a very big publisher.
Very big.
Very big
Asmodee.
publisher. maybe not as big as that, but from Stonemaier Games.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a game. It's another one of those games I had to be talked into playing. We were at I think it was a charity event board game thing. Like
a long time ago?
This has
Like
been
the-
a
like
while. This has
Nerds
been
for
a while.
Cancer? Wow,
So-
that
yes,
was
I
a
think
long
that was it.
time
Yes.
ago. Wow.
And our friend of the show, Kelly, brought this game, and the game is Wingspan. And she breaks it out at the table. I'm like, I had no interest in this game.
And you shouldn't.
That's my interest in Wingspan. Don't care about birds. One of my least favorite animals, birds.
Really?
Yeah.
I have birds upstairs.
I'll
You
be
might
wearing
hearing
this
them
weekend.
right
I'll be
now.
wearing my birds aren't real shirt because the Chiefs are playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So that's me. Birds aren't real. Couldn't care less about birds. But I've also said this before on the show. When somebody has a passion so much for something and they pour that into a game, you can't help but be excited about it unless you're Daniel. And so when I did get in this game, I'm like, this is actually really cool. I love how it works. I love how smooth everything works. I love how I love the engine building aspect. I love all the different things, and it's another one of those games where you have to play it a little bit before somebody gets the feel for it because they don't understand running the rows and all that stuff. But that's what it is. Basically, you're gonna be paying whatever you need to pay to put a new bird in one of your areas, or you're gonna run that area or one of the other areas. And so if you have a bunch of birds up in the get food, I'm gonna run the get food, and so they might all do different things for you other than get food. So they might do point generation. They might generate eggs, which you'll use for other things. So, Wingspan, very good game, and it gets a bad rap by people that say, "Oh, the last round, all I do is get eggs."
It's true.
It's not even true.
My wife figured
Not
it out,
even
John.
true.
I asked her before. I was like, "What'd you think of Wingspan?" She goes, "Yeah, it was weird. It's like I feel like the last round, all I did is have to get eggs, and then she won."
I've
And I was
had
like, yeah,
I've had games where I didn't do the egg action once the last round because I've got 3 birds I'm trying to get to the table.
And you lost.
You only have 5 actions, and you're going to get more points for those because that's going to let you get this goal and that
Okay.
goal and that goal.
Okay.
Other than I could do that and get 4 points.
Yep. This
But-
game, I heard that the expansion fixes it, so I should give it a try because the game is fun up
I
until
do have
that
these.
point. Up
Well,
until
there's
that point.
many expansions. I only have the European expansion.
The one
It's
that
the only one that
fixes
makes
the
sense.
issue.
Yes. But anyway, Wingspan. That is my number 8 with
All
a
right.
bullet. What do you got?
My number 8 is going to make Chris proud because it is his number 1 game of all time.
No
Yes. That game is Power Grid.
Oh, okay.
What do you think it was?
18XX. Did you already do 18XX?
No.
Okay.
No. If I played it more, probably. No.
Maybe that's still to
Yeah,
come.
no. Spoiler: no 18XX. No Power Grid. It is one of these like first tier like Euro games that came out right when the hobby was new and fresh and everybody was excited about stuff. And this Power Grid still stays relevant. It is a very clean
Weird box.
auction. Well, yeah, a weird box. It's a clean auction game, and the goal is to generate the most cities, and you're going to do that via building cities and then also getting power plants. But you can only have 3 power plants. So as the game progresses, you're going to have to retire old power plants. So that old power plant that had took 3 coal to generate 4 energy is outdated. It has been replaced with the new green energy. It's windmills, and it
Or it could
actually
be
does,
nukes.
or it could be nukes, and now 1 nuke can do 10 energy, and you're
There
like,
you
well,
go.
that's so much better than that coal. And then you have this market that is there, and the market is finite, so the more that is there, the cheaper it is. But you can actually buy out a market completely. So if I leverage my turn order in a way that I go before John and John needs a bunch of coal, well, I can buy double my coal so that John can only buy 2 coals and not the 3 that he
And
needs.
then pay out the nose for him.
That's right. But it's
Yeah.
worth it because now he doesn't get to generate his cities, which is actually one of the goals of the game is generate your 15 cities. Once you do that, you'll win. So
it's a racing game, really.
yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
And
exactly.
so this is your best racing game, not Heat.
Not a racing game. Okay. But yeah, no, Power Grid, older classic game, but it holds in the test of time. And my father-in-law actually went to like a work party type of thing or with work friends, and they
were
busted
playing
this
Power
game
Grid?
out
Really?
and they played it, and he was like, oh, it's really good. Again, he is a beautiful mind type of person, so like he picked up on it really really quick. But like but he was like, that was a lot of fun. And I was like, yes, even a non-gamer played it and was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Power Grid's fun.
Now, when we discussed it on the show, I might have been a little over the top on my reactions on Power Grid because I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I do see the appeal to Power Grid. It seemed just so samey after the halfway through the game. of doing the same things over and over to me. But
yeah, but the level of planning and thinking through your actions, that's where it
Yeah.
shines. You are right. You're kind of doing the same thing, but man, you are plotting the entire game like on turn one. You are thinking, how is this? I mean, there's some pivoting because of how the order in which the power plants
Yeah.
come out, but like, you know what you need like right away, and you have a direction and you go for it.
yeah,
So
I don't know. Yeah. All right.
All right.
I'll allow it on the list.
yes, it passes. All right, so my number 8 was a game that Chris loved. Number 7 is
Oh,
a
okay.
game that Chris hates.
Okay, maybe I'll like this one.
You know you won't like it either.
Oh,
Number 7 is Keyflower.
Oh, my word.
I really enjoy auction games. I think one of my favorite mechanics in games is getting into someone's head and thinking, okay, I know they're going to do that. They know I'm going to do this, so I need to do that. But they know I'm going to do that. That whole thing. I love that. And auctions do a lot of that, because you got to think, like, how much is John willing to do? I don't think he's willing to do this, so I'm going to go with this number. Well, Keyflower is an auction game, but it does it in a really unique way, because you are bidding on these tiles that are going to go into your tableau, which now is a engine building for yourself, and you get rewards if somebody else plays on there and all that stuff. But the catch on Keyflower is that when you bid on a tile or use a tile, you have to pick a colored meeple. Now, other people can use that, but they have to use the same color meeple. So you're kind of watching the whole board. You're like, okay, John got a lot of reds. I don't want him to get this tile. I'm going to go blue. And John's like, dang it, if you picked any other color but blue. And you're like, yes, I got it right. And or he had 2 blue because he knew I was going to do that, and he's been saving them the whole game. And he's like, bam, 2 blue. And we're like, no, what has happened? Keyflower is great. It plays smooth. The disadvantage of it, which I'll speak up for Chris, is that you do have to know what's going on the entire table. So there is an advantage for when you know how to play this game and you are familiar with the game, because instead of going, okay, what does John have? What does Chris have? What does Ryan have? Instead, what you do is, I need coal. Who has the coal? He has the coal. Okay, there we go. It's knowing what you need and how to utilize it. Like, I don't care what John has. I just need this thing. Who has that thing? And that's the way you should be approaching it. But Keyflower is wonderful. It also is another game that's benefited from being on Board Game Arena. So that's where I got a lot of my plays at originally.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
But I have it. That was one of the first games I got into when I got into the hobby.
Really?
And
Okay.
right
And
away,
you still have it.
I still have it.
That's
and
amazing.
I still love it.
Okay.
So Keyflower.
Yeah, I played it one time. That was with you and the aforementioned Daniel Marsh.
Yeah.
And I thought thematically it was a mess.
Yeah.
You're bidding people, and some people are worth more. Different colored people are worth more than others.
They're not. No one's worth more. It's just you can't. You can't mix the
Okay,
races.
Good point. There you go. That's better. But the fun part of that, I think I did win that game. But the fun part of that, nobody knows what you have behind your screen.
Correct. Yeah.
And so I was like gradually building up. I think it was blue.
Sure.
And I would slough off. I would never outbid people with blue, to where.
I was just using that as an
To
example.
where either you or he, one of you,
Yeah.
it might have been him, started bidding blue at the end of the game, thinking he's got all the blue.
Yeah.
And so then I outbid him the first time. Like, oh, well, now surely I have more blue.
Yeah.
Nope. Go ahead and lead blue, big dog.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I think that's how I won. Was at the end I won 2 huge auctions where he's like, "No way, you have more blue." Yep. Plenty more where that come from. Then you start the smack talking. Put more blue out.
Yeah.
How much more? So
Let's keep going.
So that was a pretty good moment of
Yeah.
that game that I
There
was
you
kind
go.
of mad on overall. But yeah, I can see the appeal.
Yeah, and I get it. There's no theme there whatsoever,
Yeah.
other than pioneers coming on ships,
Yeah, I guess.
and you're.
And they're different colors.
That's right.
Then you can steal things from your neighbors.
Yep.
All right.
Just like the pioneers.
That's right. So that was your 7.
It was. Do you have a 7?
I have a 7.
Good.
And
Or
yours,
should we skip
I
it?
think this one is going to be no.
No, we shouldn't.
This one must be higher on your list
Oh.
because I have a hard time believing this is not going to be a crossover. Number 7 is a game that came out and I really liked it, but I was like, it needs something extra to really get me into this game. And then they came out with a Marvel version, and I'm like, I'm all in. And that is Unmatched.
Yeah.
Unmatched is
not on my list.
not a top 50 game for Daniel. Wow.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, maybe it is. Not on his list yet. But unmatched if you haven't played it, and even if you're not into skirmish games, which I was not at the time, this one is so thematic and so well made that it's going to drag you into it. My children don't play games; they will play this game.
Wow,
My son and his girlfriend will come over and we'll play the Tales to Amaze together.
nice.
And so it's
Cooperative version.
Yeah, the cooperative version, which is even better because they don't really like trying to go against Dad because that usually ends well, or doesn't end well for them. But yeah, how everything is like the Cobble and Fog. You've got Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Watson's got his revolver. Sherlock Holmes is all these mind things he does.
Yeah,
You've got the Marvel versions. Daredevil. He just goes at it like a crazy man, just like Daredevil would. And if he's living on the edge, he's more powerful. Bullseye can attack you from almost anywhere because he's Bullseye. So yeah, so many things with thematic.
Raptors. They attack you in packs.
Then T-Rex, give me a break. Come on.
Slow,
There they come.
Yeah.
Yep, and hard to kill, a lot of health. So yeah, it all works so well together. I haven't had any combo where I'm like, people have said combos are busted, but I just recently played one where it was supposed to be busted, where Bigfoot could not lose against Robin Hood, and I beat my son as Robin Hood.
Yep.
We switched it around, it might have been different, but. And I can see why that is, because there's so many 2 attacks on the Robin Hood thing, and 2 attacks do not. Oh, no, not Bigfoot. Luke Cage.
Oh, Luke Cage.
Because Luke Cage, 2 attack does nothing to him.
Yeah.
But, so anyway. Unmatched. That's my number 7.
Yeah, well, I might talk about it later.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So, number 6 on my list, which we're getting into the nitty-gritty now.
That's right.
Nitty and gritty. It was only nitty before.
Do you know how to do the gritty?
I don't know how to do the gritty.
I don't do the gritty.
But number 6 on my list is a game that has been re-implemented recently, and I am 2 thumbs up on the re-implementation. That game is Ethnos. Ethnos is one of the first games you get me to play when I got in the hobby, to tell you the truth. And once again, it was with the aforementioned Marshes, but this time it was Danielle Marsh. And so Ethnos, if you haven't ever played it, it's an amazing game that plays up to 6 players.
I am I gotta pause.
Okay.
I am shocked that
this
is
one's
that
so high. Really?
I mean, it's on my list. It was on my top 50.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But number 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
There we
Wonderful.
go.
I love it.
Good gravy. I was surprised to see it there myself. But there it was. So
surprise
I got to talk
ourselves
about it.
sometimes.
But love the new implementation as well, because you
Yeah.
got even more clans, as they call them
so
now. They
good.
were tribes, but whatever. And so on your turn, I guess we talked about it before, but on your turn, you do one of 2 things. You take a card from the display or the top of the deck, or you play a set of cards, which is going to
Super
be
simple.
different clans. It could be different clans that are of the same color type, or it could be all of the same type, and whoever your clan leader is, you get to do their power as well. So that's going to be messing with you. You're going to have all these cards. You're like, well, I could play this with this leader, I could play this with this leader. Let me see what else I can get. Maybe I can make one of these better, because the bigger it is, the more points you're going to get for them at the end of the round as well. So a lot of different things to think about. Plus it's area control, which takes up a new level in the new game. So yes, Ethnos, definitely my number 6 game on my list.
Yeah, wow, that's shocking. I have one criticism of
What
the
is
new
that?
set though.
Oh, what's that?
It doesn't have what the card does on the card in text format.
Because that is old school.
Yeah,
That is 90s.
no,
It's been re-implemented with iconography.
yeah, but it was so easy to teach because you're like, yeah, you pick a card, play the card, but read the cards in your hand, and then people read it and go, oh, okay, I know what it does. Now
Yeah.
you're gonna have to pass that around.
Yeah.
I wish they would have kept the
That's
text.
that I would agree.
Yeah,
But
but it's fine.
this is what everybody
It's
likes now.
beautiful,
This
yeah.
is the new thing. This is what the kids like now. They like the iconography. They
Well,
don't
back
have
in
time
my
to
day,
read.
you had to read.
Nobody reads now. What are you talking about?
True. All right. Well, my number 6 is likely not going to surprise you. I think from here on out, anybody who's watched the show is just going to know what my top 6 is.
Gotcha.
So my number 6 is Root. I fell in love with Root as soon as it came out. I love the complexity of it. I love the rock paper scissors aspect of it, where this faction has to keep this faction in check and this faction has to keep the other faction in check. All of the factions are different. They play completely different, with just a slight borderline similarity, where they have a deck of cards, and the deck of cards, depending on like what suit you play, will then do different things. Beyond that, though, each faction is wildly different. And with each expansion, they keep expanding this game with more unique ways to play, which also means it's harder to teach. This game probably could be number one if it was Marvel themed and if it was also a little easier to get to the table. But I love it, and every time I teach it to new people, like some people feel weird about it because because they don't understand the dual, like how the factions interlocked with each other, and they feel like, well, that seemed overpower, or the Woodland Alliance was at 15 and then it got to 30 like in one turn and it won. How could we have stopped that? And it's like, this is all very transparent. It's just, it does take a few plays to play it to understand it. And as someone teaching it, I'm trying not to tell you how to play constantly. Yeah. But there are little things like, hey, somebody should stop the cats from expanding. And they're like, why don't you? It's like, because that's not what I do. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, Root's fantastic. So many different combinations, so many different ways to play, and also area control that plays quick. That's always a plus.
Mm-hmm. So, yes,
yeah, love Root.
I don't know if I put Root on the same level I put golf, where I'm like, I don't know if the level of enjoyment I've gotten out of golf was worth learning to play golf and all the pain I had to go through to play golf. But now I enjoy it, but I don't know. Yeah. But oh man, that first night we were sitting down learning Root was exasperating. And I'm like, give me the Eerie. They seem easy. I'm gonna be the Eerie. I'm gonna be the birds. And I've still only been either the Eerie or not the COVID, but the Corvid, which is another bird group, which I'm a fan of them as well.
Because you love birds.
Yeah, because after Wingspan, I'm like, I'm just gonna play all the birds. And it's a fun game. I'll say that it is a fun game. It's not on my list, obviously. Oh. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's still coming.
Could it be on the top 5?
But that's the big thing people hate about it is you're not learning one game, you're learning 4 games.
Yeah.
And it's a half hour each, so you're 2 hours in before you start playing.
Yeah, a little exaggeration, but you're not far off though.
There's in-game learning too that gets explained. So yeah, but other than that though, I really do like it. I've enjoyed every play.
It's good. It's worth it. I do like your take on it. You like it now, but was it worth it? Yeah, who knows? Yeah. But
who knows?
Honestly, if you like area control, it's worth it. Yeah, I would say so.
True.
While you could probably guess what my top 5 games of all time is, this one's still going to shock you.
Oh my gosh.
I've been playing games my whole life, but I got into the board game hobby around 2010-ish. And ever since 2012, when this game came out, it has been my number 1 game of all time. And this is the first year it is not. And that is Marvel Legendary.
Oh, gotcha.
Guys, I love this game so much. I bought every single thing that has come out on it, except for the MCU stuff. I don't like mixing the screen grabs.
They have MCU stuff?
Yeah, and it's all screen grab. I hate that. I hate it so much.
Okay.
But
because the rest of it's art?
Yeah, the rest of it's art, comic book art. I love comic books, okay? MCU is great, but comic books are where it's at, okay? Don't give me no screenshots. Anyways, I digress. I divest. Legendary is wonderful. It's a deck building game themed around Marvel. You are building a deck of heroes to fight off the villains. There's always a stream of villains coming out. Each mastermind is what they're called, has different ways to win, and then you also have a side scheme a scheme that they are trying to accomplish, which also changes a win condition as well. So this is a cooperative game, though me and my wife do play it competitively because you can play it semi co-op, which is a weird thing. But I digress. The reason this game has lowered in for me from my number 1 to my number 5 is it's so hard to play with other people. One, there's so much stuff now, and that many cards is really heavy. And 2, there's a lot of text on the card. So every time I'm teaching this game, I have to wait for people to read. And I'm like, guys, it's not that hard, but I get it. It probably is. So I got to sit there and hold my tongue. Mm-hmm. And then they're always asking, how does the scheme work? How does the mastermind work? Okay, so if this game was more approachable by the masses, I think that would stay at number 1. But unfortunately, I at this point avoid trying to play it with new people. And I was like, I had to look in my hearts of hearts and go, if I am trying to actively not teach this game to people, can it really be my number 1?
Gotcha.
So it did have to slide down. But guys, I still love it. I'm still going to buy every single thing with it. I'm still super happy with it. And I know I didn't talk about the mechanics very much because it literally is just deck building. If you played a deck building game, you've played this one. But this brings back, and this is probably why it hits me in the feel so much, is that it brings me back to my childhood when I collected comic book cards and comic books. One of the coolest things you got to do is see the cool pictures and look at their stats and their powers and be like, oh, that's so awesome. Marvel Legendary does a wonderful job at interpreting the characters and their powers into play. So like if I am Cyclops, he does more damage than most people on a one-on-one basis, but you have to discard a card to use his powers.
Oh, gotcha.
Because he can't control it. That type of thing.
Yep.
Or I could explain all day, so I won't. But there are so many of these thematic connections that just make the game shine. It makes me feel like I am these characters. It does it better than any other Marvel game except for one. And I
That'll
love
be number
it.
one on
So,
his list.
Marvel Legendary.
I think I
is
played this
wonderful.
once with you, and yes, it's very thematic, is what I like
Yes.
about it as well.
Yes.
If you're into Marvel, you're going to like it, even
yes.
a little bit. There'll be somebody in there that you care about that you like to. Mess
Oh, they
with.
have everybody.
And so it's really cool that way. It's piqued my interest about that. I've not heard much about this game,
Yeah.
which is the James Bond Legendary.
Oh, okay, sure.
007 Legendary, whatever it's called, because I'm a huge Bondy.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if I would like it. You can play it solo, right?
Oh
No,
yeah,
yeah. So
and you would like it. It's a story based.
gonna have
I believe it's an encounter. Like there's a difference between the legendary system that's just playing and then the encounter. The encounter actually runs you through a story.
Oh, okay.
So like X-Files, we actually have X-Files and Legendary, which is really cool. So I think 007 is an encounter system.
Oh, okay, cool.
You will actually really like it.
Okay.
I recommend
If I ever
getting
get
it.
that into trade or something, I'll probably.
Yeah,
look for it,
it's
but
worth
yeah.
it for you.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, you might find it cheap.
That's what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
I don't really ever see it that often. But
Okay.
So that was your 5.
It was my 5.
Okay.
You might think it was my number 1 if you're just joining us, but it's not. That was number 5, which is
All right, my number 5 might surprise you, might not. I don't know, because I like this game, and it's a game that you had said you hadn't played. Then you said you had played it. I don't know, but number 5 for me, I fell in love with immediately when I saw it on the shelf at Target of all places,
Target game.
and that is Pan Am. Pan Am is such. See, he's laughing because
I've
he
played
hates this
it.
game.
I've played it.
Pan Am is such a cool game. I love how it's this historic romp through what happens in the aviation. How Pan Am is going to take over the entire world because of corruption or what have you. But Pan Am is going to take over, and you're owner of a small
Because of
little-
corruption of the world. I thought we were
Whatever.
talking about like fantasy for a second. I was like, wait, no. This is planes.
And so you start out as a little airline, and you want to build up, but building up is futile for your future, but you want to make something powerful and valuable that Pan Am will want to take it over, and then you get more money back because they're like, we want that
do really
route.
like that.
We want that route. Okay, here we go. And so, it's thematic in that every round you're pulling over a new news thing, and whatever happened in the news, it's a real news event.
Gotta react to it.
It reacts. It causes things to happen. It'll make stock prices go up, stock prices go down, what have you. And at the end of the round, you can always buy more Pan Am stock. And sometimes you have the ability to look ahead. What's that next one going to do? Oh, it's going to go down.
Inside trading.
I'm not going to buy any this round because I know it's going to go, and other people know what it is. Maybe, then they don't buy any, or maybe they do, or maybe they've already bought and you're like, oh, crud.
Yeah.
But in any event, great game. It's the whole idea is to have the most Pan Am stock at the end of the game.
Yep.
Which there's a long way to go to get there. At the end of the round, every time you're buying stock, but in the meantime, you're connecting routes. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that, and you're trying to keep other people from getting that good route. You're trying to get there before them, and it's worker placement. So you're like, but whoever places first, this is where it can get tricky. Whoever places first in building routes, when you get to that round, they build first, and so you might want to put a guy there before you have what you need to build that route, and then hope you can get it later on, because if you're not there and somebody else builds it first, then you're hosed anyway. So yeah, a lot of little thoughts about that when you're putting, and it's also one of those things where everywhere else people can outbid you to go to that spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very cool. Love the game Pan Am.
It's funny. You explain the game, and I'm like, I should like everything about it, and I don't dislike the game. It's just it has that factor where it's like everything you said is economic and strategy and wonderful, but there's one spot on that board that's like draw a
here we
card,
go.
and the cards are wildly random, and it's like I just wish those cards weren't in there. That's all I'm saying. Everything else about it is really cool.
Go there, get your cards.
I did, and I destroyed.
The thing
because
is,
I
you can get hosed by not doing what you need to do. Instead, you go there.
But you get a card that's better than what you were going to do,
Yeah, it could be, could not be.
or it could be worse.
I don't know. I think you exaggerate how wildly
Okay,
you're there.
no, it's good.
That's my
It's
number 5 is Pan Am.
fine. Pan Am.
How about we get to number 4? The final
should do that.
four.
Final
This is the
four.
final 4.
Speaking of the final four,
What?
you've heard of March Madness, right?
I've heard a little bit about this.
Well,
yes.
have you heard of March Madness of board games?
What is this you
That's
speak of?
right. If you go to FBC Gamers, which will come
put a
join
link
with
in there?
Around the Board soon, I will. You can join FBC Gamers and join our March Madness of
board
board
games.
games. That's right. It's and you can fill out your own brackets. And what we do is we take 2 games, we pit them against each other, and everybody votes on which game they would rather play. And then can you create the best bracket? And if you do, there is a prize in store for you. That's right,
nice.
$100 gift certificate.
I've been so close to winning these
Mission
before.
board games. I know last year.
So close.
This year is the hardest year. This
Yeah,
year
there's-
is
so far the brackets look really
hard.
weird. Yeah.
There's gonna be so many close calls. I'm
Yeah.
super excited for that. But I digress. I totally derailed yours. But you
Oh,
said
that's right. We're
something
talking about something else.
That's
Number
right.
4. Number 4 on my list is going to surprise this guy right here.
I'm already
You're going to be
surprised.
floored. Your jaw's going
I'm
to
already surprised that you like 4 games.
Number 4 on my list is the best game of this type of genre, which is like the Ark Nova type genre,
Okay.
where you're building something to
Okay.
put something in.
Did we review it for the show?
No, we did not.
Okay. All right.
And that game is Dinogenics. It's right here behind me as number 4 on my list.
What?
I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed this game, and I've only played it a handful of times. But Dinogenics
gosh.
blows everything to what is the Jurassic crud game that they
gosh,
have?
yeah, no.
Whatever, Dinosaur Island
Dinosaur
or whatever
Island,
that,
Dinosaur
or
World,
the
yeah.
Tiny Epic Dinosaurs or Ark Nova or any of these games where you're building a park of animals / dinosaurs and doing it in a game
Yeah.
version. Oh my gosh, this game is so I love everything about this game. It's worker placement.
Number 4,
You're
wow.
you have to build an enclosure, put your guy in, you gotta and then they can be dangerous. They can
be
get out,
dangerous.
they can kill people. That's bad for your park.
You don't want them to
I don't know
eat
if you know
people.
that. That's bad for your park. But I don't know why this game doesn't get more acclaim, because Dinogenics is number 4 on my list, man. I have gone to bed after playing this game and dreamt about this game.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh no, he's got more points. He's going to get ahead of me. And so, it's one of those games that you mull over when you're done. You're like, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that differently. And Daniel knows it more than me, so I'll let you talk about it.
I mean, yeah. You're trying to recreate dinosaurs, so you're going through research and you're finding the
Yes.
dinosaur cards that actually do something different. That is where Dinosaur Island sucked at. Is like it didn't matter if you made a T-Rex or a Triceratops. It was like the
gotcha.
same effect.
Yeah.
This one, the dinosaurs actually matter,
Yeah.
and then you have to have pins created for the specific dinosaurs to go into, because a Brontosaurus can be with the Stegosaurus, but you cannot put them in with the T-Rex.
No.
The T-Rex needs to be on your own. And then they added the other one because you're genetically engineering these dinosaurs. So what if they get a little wild and crazy and make new dinosaurs? Well, those dinosaurs, they're not as cool to see from the public, so you actually don't get a lot of points,
Nah.
but they are easy to make. So
Gotcha.
and then you can build buildings to increase your park
Yes.
and your appeal to
Yes.
your park. So yeah, I love Dinogenics. I think it's really good. It definitely got overlooked by Dinosaur Island, and I think
Yes.
it's because
Oh,
of
yeah.
availability.
Maybe
but
that's
this
it.
game is so much better. It's actually like entertaining. Dinosaur
Mm-hmm.
Island was so bland. Dinogenic. I compare the two because they literally launched on Kickstarter pretty much at the same time.
Oh, is that right?
yeah, they did.
Take
So,
one look at each one and you'd be like, this one
Yeah,
is dripping with theme and
yeah.
the other one not so much. So
I know you liked it this much.
Yes.
This could be, you've heard of like influencers when they get really popular, they have a game that they push and it becomes popular because they push it.
Oh, maybe
This
that'll
needs to
be
be your game.
Dinogenics.
This,
Maybe that'll be it.
this needs to be it.
maybe. Okay. Well, that's number 4 for me.
All
Is
right.
Number 4 for you, anything I can stand.
Yes, you are going to approve of my number 4 because it's already been on this list.
On mine,
On yours.
Wow.
Which one
Okay.
could it be?
Unmatched.
That's right.
There
My
we
number
go.
4 game
Wow, number
is
4.
Unmatched.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sometimes I will go a few months without playing this game and I think back, do I really like it that much?
Oh, man.
And then I play it and I'm like, heck yeah, I like it that much. This game is fantastic. It's just a 2-player skirmish game. Could be played 3 or 4 players as
played 3 or
well.
4.
It shines in 2 though. And you get to pick any character you want. There's just so
Oh
many
my
characters
gosh.
out there, and the decks are so unique and they are so well balanced to each other. Yeah, you can get onto that ridiculous online debates where people are like, "Oh well, Squirrel Girl sucks. You should never play with
Yeah.
her. Medusa always wins."
Yeah.
Dude, play your game, and I bet you if you are good, you're gonna win with whoever you're at.
Yeah.
But this game just it's so easy. All you do is you have a hand of cards. You play a card that's an attack card, or you play a card that's a defense card, or you play a scheme, or you move. That's it. Those are your choices. Everything else is all about strategy and how you're going to move on the board. How are you going to approach this person? Are you going to run away to rebuild your hand? Are you just going to stay there and start, thrashing away because you got a stacked hand? But then all of a sudden your opponent's like, oh, I got to discard a card, and you're like, crap. And then you're like, I'm going to run now because you just took the card that was crucial to this. So you run away from that person as he's chasing you, but then he runs out of cards because he was doing other things, and it's just this great back and forth.
Yes.
Takes 30 minutes to play. It's kind of a theme of mine. I really like games that can be played quickly and give you a big punch. I like long games, but if you can get a big punch in a short amount of time, that's awesome, because then you can play over and over again. And when you have I think 40 different characters to choose from, you want to play over and over again.
There's at least that many.
Yeah.
But
Unmatched.
and I mean, we touched that out when I talked about it, is the theme. The theme is what's so one of my favorite plays was when I played as Dracula versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, how cool is that? You know what I'm saying? And so you can do things that really make sense like that, or you can do anything that doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter. You can play it. Yeah. Obviously, I already talked about how much I love it.
Is insane about this game. Okay, it's no secret how much I love Marvel. This first set came out, and I was like, this is one of the best games I've played. I loved it. And then when they announced Marvel, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I can't believe it. I was so excited. So,
Yeah, to me, it was Goblin Fog that got me into it.
Yeah.
Huge Sherlock Holmes fan. And, the other characters are really good, too. I'm familiar with them. I know that this is thematic. It makes sense. And, when I play their decks, I have enough familiarity that I love it. And so then that's why I was like, well, if Marvel comes out, I'm starting to buy this stuff. And that's what happened.
And you're like, yes.
Yep, now I'm good.
Okay, quick question about Unmatched. If you had one set that you got to choose to come out, what would you want? I'm going to tell you mine. I thought about this a lot.
Wow, apparently
I want an American Tall Tale set. I want John Henry and Paul Bunyan and Annie Oakley and Johnny Appleseed or some other variations. But yeah, that I think would be an incredible set. I think it would be so fun. So
I haven't put as much thought into it, so I'm going to go with the one we mentioned before and have friends. You can have. It can be the first 6-person set.
You need to think more about
and they can have their apartments and the hallway in between. That could be the board.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. It'd be like, you could play a snarkiness card from,
Let's move
now I can't remember. Ross is hiding in the corner. There's no shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was so excited, and now I'm not. All right, my number 3 is a game that took me by surprise. I really like Terraforming Mars, but it wasn't like a game that I was like, yes. Actually, it turned into that. It turned into that, but
this one,
one didn't. I didn't think it was going to, but it sure enough did, and that is Ark Nova.
Okay.
That's right. This game, I love it. It's an engine building game, and you get to build up your zoo. You get to be rewarded with your actions because you actually get to look down and see that you have this, the enclosures that you've created. You look over here and you see the animals in your zoo. You see the different sciences that you're pursuing, also thematic. But what really makes this game, there's 2 things that make this game stand out over its predecessors. What is really interesting about this game is it does absolutely nothing new. But it takes a bunch of mechanics, mashes them together in such fun ways. So one of the ways that I really enjoy is the action selection. You have 5 different cards, and they resolve at whatever power they're at. So if you're resolving, like drawing cards at power 5, you take the action, and then you bring it all the way down to 1, pushing everything up. So I really like managing that river of actions that is also mitigatable as well, which is a resource you can get to increase the strength of something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And then the other part that I really enjoy about this game is the race to the end. It gives you so much tension because the game ends when your 2 scoring tracks cross, and then the distance between the 2 is what your score is. And that creates so much tension because you're always looking at what other people are doing, how close they are. Are they going to push to the end this round? Sometimes you can force you always play to the end of the round, so even if they cross, I think... No, that's not true.
Yeah, you do.
You play to the end of the round?
Yeah, you do.
I'm not so sure about that. But anyways, regardless, you're still looking around, and sometimes you can push to the end to make people discard their cards because like the round is over and they're like, oh, I wasn't anticipating that. There's a lot of variabilities in this game. I do not play the take that cards. I feel like it breaks the theme, and also just it's a very plotting game where you're doing a lot of things on purpose, and I don't want to be derailed because John just wanted to play a snake for
Gotcha.
no reason that makes me discard a card. It's like, what? No. I'm not doing that with my Euros. Do not take that Euro. Take that Euros are bad. Like, that's not a great thing. But anyways, Arc Nova, love it. Number 3.
I love everything about it except that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Is that's
But its
I don't
balance
know.
is you got to
It's-
have animals in your things, but you also have to be thinking of the end game scoring at all times. It gives you 2 levels to think about at any given moment.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I do enjoy the gameplay. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
every play of it, but that's the one thing where, like, I haven't been that person, but there's that person
Yeah.
that can tell with 45 minutes to go they're not going to win.
I wouldn't
Unless
say
something really crazy
I
happens.
wouldn't say within 45 minutes,
Oh,
but
it can
well,
easily happen.
you're a Debbie Downer.
No, I'm just saying. I've been there playing where I'm like, gosh, if I was that guy, I'd be wanting to just walk away right now. You know, I mean, I've always been like at least in the hunt,
Okay,
but
you might be right, but this is also why I like it a lot. I have fun with what I'm
Punishing.
doing.
Oh.
No, I have fun with what I'm doing.
Oh, I'm
Like,
saying
even
I,
if
I've
I'm not
enjoyed.
gonna
I
win,
enjoy the rest of the game.
Even if I'm not
yes.
going to win, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I really like that I have this engine
Yes.
going here, and I like that I have this, and I'm
Oh,
like,
I agree.
oh, the game's over. Oh
Yeah.
man.
And I do agree that action selection thing and how the actions are more
Yeah.
powerful, that makes the game.
Does.
Because to me also, because somebody can do one of the things you wanted to do that round,
Yeah.
it takes it off the table for that round.
Yeah.
But you're like, well, I can do this action that's like now really cool. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to do it, but now I may as well. Now the one I was going to do is going to be more powerful when I do it. So it's like, yeah, it kind of helps you with something to do instead of just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, biding your time. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I can do a really cool action. So I'll just do that. Thanks. But yeah, it's not a bad choice.
Good. Yeah, love it.
That was your number 3.
It was.
Time for my number 3.
Ooh, top 3.
My number 3. It's another game I don't own. This is 2 games in a row that I do not own.
Wow, 4 and 3. You don't own it.
I know, right? So number 3 is, what is it again? Oh, yes. Number 3 is a dice placement game. Don't look at my list. A dice placement game that is probably the best dice. Well, obviously, I think it's the best dice placement game, unless
Must
one of
be.
my top 2 are.
Could be.
But it is Grand Austria Hotel. I have
Wow.
never not
See-
enjoyed a play of this game, and this is going to be one of the ones that freaks you out.
This is why we have no idea what he likes. There's no theme here.
Oh,
It's
yes,
bland.
there is. Oh, it's theme.
All right.
It's a
please
little
explain.
bland, and it looks old-time Euro-ish a little bit. But it has all kinds of theme. You're luring these people to your hotel with your fine eatery. And then you're trying to convince them to take a room because that's how you make the big bucks.
Yeah.
And so you got to get certain kind of rooms, give you certain kind of abilities. And so and you want to appeal to the royals. You want your royal track to go up because, that gives you a lot of clout. I mean, it's all thematic. I know what you're talking about. And so, yeah, then the food, some of the food's harder to make and it's more in demand and it's hard to get, when those people want that and you can make it, that's great. And then they're going to give you more rewards. I personally love it and I think it's very thematic. And it's one of those where it's one of those where
long.
you roll the dice. It is a little long.
Yeah.
And you roll the dice, and if you've never played it, you roll all the dice, whoever's turn it is to be first, and then you match them up by what number they are, and there might be a whole bunch of 5s this time, and you're like, well, nobody, like the first 2 people didn't even do that action. You're like, well, that action is so powerful now because there's all these 5s. It might be giving you a discount. It might be giving you more things. It might be giving you whatever, because the more dice that are on that number, the more that action is appealing to you. Yeah. But I really need to do the 2 action. But I could always do the 2 action, I guess. I'm going to do the 5 action this round because it's going to be more powerful. Yeah. Every time you do it, you take a die away, so now it's less powerful. And so, yeah, and there's certain ways you can move the dice around and some dice mitigation. But a lot of it is the people you hire will help you do things. That's another thing. You're hiring staff, and you're doing it. It's all thematic. You're hiring staff. It makes it easier. I love. Have you played Grand Austria Hotel? I love Grand Austria Hotel.
It's good. It's a good game. I have no complaints about it. I haven't played it a lot, so I can't give too many insights into it.
And
but
this is probably the only game on my list that qualifies in 2 different ways. I don't own it, and I don't think I've ever won it. But so, like you were saying about Arc Nova, the playing of it is so much fun. Part of the problem is I always play with the guy that I know that owns it, Mike, and he's very good at this game.
Yeah.
And you might think you're winning, and then 2 turns later, oh my word, what did you just do? And that was 1 turn. I can't believe that. This is one of those things where you can cascade. You can build up big turns and things like that. So, really cool that way, too. Combos.
Combo.
So, there we go. Number 3 on my list, Grand Austria Hotel.
So if I said you can get $1 million and you get 100 choices, give me one game, this game on John's top 3 list. you would never guess this game.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, probably.
No one
not.
would ever get this game. They would look at their Board Game Geek and they would get to Choice 99 and they're like, oh my gosh, what could it be?
What could it be? It's true. You never know with me.
You never
I'm
know.
a conundrum. All right. All right, number 2 on my list. There's only 2 left. Did you know that?
I did know that. I've been following along,
Okay.
taking notes.
So number 2 on my list is going to surprise absolutely nobody.
Okay.
If you've been paying attention at all.
Are we going to be surprised that it's number 2, not 1?
Maybe.
Okay.
Because number 2 on my list is the amazingly thematic Godfather Corleone's Empire.
I'm shocked it's not number
Oh
1.
my gosh, this game is amazing. And I got it, I think, when it was on its, because it came out and it was a hot game for a while.
For like 2 seconds.
Well, for like a few months.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of people playing it. I'm like, that game looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then on a like Black Friday or whatever, the Cyber Monday
went down to,
thing,
like,
I was
10.
like, well, before that, it was like when it first started to go
Uh-huh.
down. I got it for like 25 or something
Yeah.
like that, like the year before, maybe
Yeah.
2 years before that. And I was like, well, gosh, that's a $60 game. I've seen this game. It looks amazing. I've seen people
Yeah.
play it. And so I got it. No fan of the movie The Godfather. It's a slow, boring
You
70s
hate
movie.
it even, right?
Possibly. I sat through 3 of them. I'm done. But yeah, that's where they messed up. This should have been a generic gangster
should have
theme
been
because there's really no connection whatsoever really to the movies. But other than the picture that you see on everything, which is The Godfather.
Yeah. The one clip of art.
Yes, the
that's
one
in
clip of
game.
art that they have in the whole game. But oh my gosh, such an amazing! You're doing all these gangster things. It's not a worker placement, really. I guess it is.
It's a worker
It's a worker
placement.
placement game.
Worker placement,
but
area
your
control.
workers are also doing area control, and you have thugs that can go to these businesses and shake them down through the front like a thug would do.
Yeah.
Give me some money, you little punk. Or you have a family member that's going to go through the back door, and he's a little more powerful. He gets a little less of something, but he gets it from everybody in that area, and every area he's connected to. So you have less of the family members, more of the thugs. So you got to decide what you're going to do on your turn. You can do one of 2 things. You can place somebody, or you can fulfill an objective, which is a car bomb or a drive-by shooting, or you're going to embezzle some money from somebody, whatever. There's all these different things. That's the thing. That's where the quote came from my pastor, where he's like, I got to get me some narcotics for this next turn. And so I'm like, wow, you didn't think you'd hear that in church. But great game. I've enjoyed every play of it. Once again, it's fun even if you're not going to win, because you're like, oh man, he owes me over. Well, he's getting car bombed. So you can have a little vindictiveness mixed in with your gameplay. But so Godfather, yeah, number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
What have you
I
thought
love
of Godfather?
Godfathers. We tried to do a top 100 of mine, and it fizzled out because these things take longer than you think. And then that was on my top 100.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And it kind of goes to show you how much I do like the games on my top list. Like,
Yeah.
these games are truly games I would play at any moment, any
Yeah.
time. And Godfather is definitely there. It's not in my top 50, but I love the game.
Yeah.
It is wonderful. It is great. It has area control and worker placement,
Mm-hmm.
2 things I really enjoy. It's a little chaotic. That's the only reason I don't like it as much, because again, I've talked about how Euro games should be
Yes.
less chaotic, but it's area control, which
Yeah.
should be chaotic. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that duality there that just doesn't like single quite like it does with John, but it is a great game and fantastic.
One good thing about it is you can kind of mitigate the
Yeah.
randomness by how you play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because,
definitely,
like, I kind of tell people this at the beginning of the game now.
Uh-huh.
Like, there is card in here that's going to let somebody steal something out of your. You have a little box that you have
Yes.
laundered money in.
Yep, and that's your points right
And
there.
so
Yep.
and money is points. So you're like, well, I can launder 3. Why wouldn't I just launder 3 5s?
Yeah.
You might want to put some 1s in there,
gotta put
because
some
somebody
1s in
might say, give me 2 things out of your. Give me 2 bills out of your thing. And if all you have is 5s, you're like, oh.
Yep. And that's a fun strategy. That's a fun
Yeah,
strategy
it
to
is.
consider. Being like,
Yeah.
oh, I need some 1s in here in case somebody
Yeah.
goes after me.
You definitely have to do that. Yes. Different things like that you can
Yeah.
do to kind of mitigate the chaos.
Great
But,
game.
yeah.
Good pick.
Thank you.
All right, my number 2. My number 2 and my number 1 could be rotated any given day. My number 1's going to win out because it's a theme, though.
Yeah.
But my
all
number
know what
2
that
is the series of games that end in Haven. Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion Haven. Any of them. Whatever it is, I don't care. I love me some Gloomhaven.
Just as a coincidence, I've called these number 2 as well.
Oh, whatever. See, this is where your repulsion of theme is getting in the way, because I think you would enjoy this game just in the same way that you enjoy Unmatched. One, this is cooperative, so you don't have to worry about like things being too powerful or underpowerful. But each game you play, your character is a puzzle. And how are you going to figure out this puzzle in this dungeon? It has a timing mechanism where you're playing 2 cards every round, where you take a top action and a bottom action. You can mix and match those cards to get totally unique, different scenarios coming out. But then once you're out of your deck, you have to rest and you lose one of those cards. So the timing is you have to pick out the cards that you don't want, and you start losing them slowly throughout the game. And all the cards are bangers. So you're sitting there like on the first rest, you're like, I don't want to get rid of any of these. And everyone's like, yeah, no, duh. Like, so you literally got to go, which card that is incredible do I get rid of right now? And those choices hurt so much. And then some of the cards have like big one-time effects that you lose the card if you use it. So you're like, this will give us out of a bind right now. But then I lose this other portion of the card that is my capstone. It is the reason I play this deck. But if I don't play that top card right now, we might lose. And you're constantly in these scenarios, and each scenario is so drastically different. Yet every time you play this game, you will come down to the last couple turns. You know, John might end up dying, and he's like, all right, guys, you guys have 1 turn to get this done because I'm out of here. And then, and then he dies, and I'm like, okay, where are we at card wise? And like, everyone's like, I got 3 actions left. Somebody's like, I got 2. And you're like, okay, I think we can do this. If you go here and you go here, it's just fantastic. Like, until you've actually experienced this game, I mean, it's been around long enough. It's been number 1 on Board Game Geek. A lot of people have talked about it, and I still don't think you can truly appreciate the quality this game is until you've actually sat down and played it. Also, instead of rolling dice, you get a deck of cards for your modifier deck, which is also incredibly awesome because you can actually like predict what's going to be in your deck. You know, like, oh, I haven't got my crit yet, or I haven't got my miss yet. Ooh, do I really want to use my one-time only ability when I know I have a miss in there still? You know, you just really hard choices. And it's just so satisfying every time I play. Love this game.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Can I just throw this out there? With all these type of games, and even like throw in Dungeons and Dragons, throw in DCC.
Okay.
And maybe this has been done and I haven't seen it. Has no one ever done a reality-based theme on this stuff? Like, hey, let's have a World War II theme where you're like some soldiers behind the lines, and you're actually, because then, to me, that would appeal to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in a bunker. Oh, there could be a German.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Right? Oh, but I've got this bazooka. Should I use my bazooka and just blow it up before I go in?
Yeah.
Or should I, wait and see? Because I just blow it up now and we go in and look at it. Or should I wait? But if I wait, I can't use it close range. Yeah.
And if I use my bazooka, I might get.
If I use my bazooka and there's nothing in there, then.
No, not in the board game realm. There is the Heroes of Normandy that maybe could toy in that, but for role playing games, I'm pretty sure there's role playing games.
I thought there was like a Vietnam one that came out a few years ago, but probably didn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know,
because that would appeal to me.
The closest
something like that would appeal to me.
Yeah, the closest thing we have is that Omega Protocol, like level 7 or something like that. Maybe not Omega Protocol. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's space themed dungeon crawl.
No thanks.
I'm saying that's the closest to being like real.
Well, that's not real. But anyone out there, if you know of one, if I'm just because I'm not familiar with the field really.
Yeah.
So let us know if there's one out there that's like that. I've even talked to my son about it, and he's like, yeah, that would be cool. He likes playing the Call of Duty or whatever. He's like, that would be really cool if you had a World War II based one.
I'll do World War II Haven.
Yeah. There you go, World War II Haven. I'd be all in.
So I'm glad I get to start with my number one. Because it's no surprise. No one is surprised. I mean, the fact that I got Marvel Legendary out of there already should tell you that what my number one's going to be. And a long time ago, I said, I truly don't know what game could possibly make me not love Legendary as my number one game. Like, I think it's impossible. Well, something came along, and it was another Marvel-themed game. And this one is Marvel Champions. And oh gosh, this one's so good. It brings back, it's cooperative, but you can deck build like you do with Magic the Gathering and all those different kinds of cards. And
really?
It's just so, you deck build it. Yeah, exactly. But I don't like deck building. Everyone knows that about me, right? Well, you'll only deck build, like if I'm playing Miss Marvel, she has 15 cards that have to be in their deck. And then the rest of the 25 is what you build. So it actually like limits the pool of what I can build from, and then you only have one aspect that you build out of. So there's 4 different aspects. So like again, my pool is limited again. So it actually makes deck building fun for me because it is somewhat limited. But also for thematic, Marvel thematic games are just like top notch, and that this one is the most thematic game out there. The villains are so fun to play and dynamic. It changes the game drastically. The heroes play just like you would think they would. Like Quicksilver, he does very little damage, but he untaps like 4 times. He's attacking. Duke.
Gotcha.
Scarlet Witch, she pulls cards randomly from the top of her deck, and then things go crazy based on the symbols that come out. Jubilee, she likes to have multicolored things, so like the more of the resources she has, the more powerful she is, because fireworks.
There you go.
Wolverine, he heals, but he can also like he damages himself because his claws come out, so every time he uses his claws he takes a damage. But at the start of his turn he heals. Guys, this game is just fantastic. If you're a Marvel fan at all, it is a requirement that you have this game. If you are not a Marvel fan and you like TCGs, living card games, collectible card games, this one is top notch. You will not be disappointed with it. If you fall somewhere in between, I don't know if it'll do anything that convinces you, but man, if you are in a Marvel camp or the card camp, this game is not going to miss.
There you go. It's a can't miss.
Can't miss.
I think I played this one with you as well.
Did you? Maybe when it first came out?
I think so.
Okay.
And yeah, I've enjoyed
yeah
all the Marvel games I've played with you. That's not, it's not my cup of tea, the type of game,
Yeah.
but just to sit down and mess with it and mess with because of the theme. Yeah. Once again, it's like, oh, I'm doing this. This is really cool.
Yeah. And unlike Legendary, where you're kind of like, I'm going to get this Colossus, I attack for 5, and I'm going to get this Psylocke where I, attack for 3 with my... You're actually Captain America. You have your shield, and you throw the shield, and it goes back into your hand. And you have the super serum that when you use it, you get to generate more resources because that's where your quality of your thing is. Your flip side is allies get played for 1 less because he's the leader. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So thematic and just each deck is so unique and sings to what the character is.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I have no complaints about your number 1.
Yes.
You will have complaints about my number 1.
I will that it's not Godfather.
Godfather was my number 1
for a long time.
Yeah. And this game finally surpassed it. And it's a conundrum as to why. It's not a theme I particularly enjoy, but it is history theme. I like history.
Okay.
So, but it's not something I necessarily gravitate to. Just, hey, it's a history game. I gotta have it. It has old-timey looking design. Looks pretty old school, which isn't really me either. It's a map, with how fun is that? And that game is Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland. Yes, this is as you can see, that's the reaction, is that it's laughter. It's laughter from the people in my face.
That's right.
Brian Boru brings so many things together in a game that, the first time I played it, I was blown away and I just loved it. And a lot of it is Daniel hates trick taking.
I don't like trick taking,
but it's really not trick taking in the classic sense. That's how you will, in Brian Boru, what you do if it's your turn, you're picking a city in Ireland. This is when Brian Boru united Ireland.
Everyone knows
that's
that
what
story.
we're doing. That's what the whole thing is about. So we're trying to unite Ireland. Well, you want to be the one that does it. Through area control and through control of the church and all these different things, control of the military and through marriage, all these different things that people did. That's the theme of it, that people did back then to exert their influence. And so part of it is controlling cities. And so the person whose turn is to say, okay, we're going to fight over this city or whatever. This is the city we're going to go over. And so you're playing different parts of your deck or parts of your hand that all represent those things. Well, I'm playing 15 from the church, blue. That's the church. And so you have to follow that suit if you want to win that city. But there's different things on your card. These cards are so cool. At the top, it shows you what you get if you win. If it's a high number, you don't get as much if you win. Then at the bottom is what you get if you lose with that card. Then if it's a high number and you lose with it, you get quite a bit. And you could get influence in the church. You could get military where you're staving off invaders. You could move up in the romance where you're taking and giving in marriage. And half the time, at least, it seems like you're sloughing off to take that bottom action.
Most of the time.
Because a lot of times the person that is choosing that city, that's the city they want. So they might play a high card. You're like, well, I'm not going to beat that anyway. I'm going to play this. And so I'd say maybe 2 times per round you're actually trying to win the city that's up. That's what's so different about this than another type of trick-taking games. And so very cool game. I mean, and it's the thing about it that is weird that I like it is because it is so tight, like economically and with points. Points are hard to come by.
Yeah.
It has this chart. This chart goes up to like 80. I don't know. I've never seen anybody get much past 40. Any game that I've seen. If you're getting over 30, you got a chance to win.
Maybe it's just room to get to 80.
I don't know why. Yeah, I think it was just design. It was just a design of the game. But yeah, that's so funny. You start with some points because sometimes you lose points.
Yeah.
And so I think everybody starts with 10. So you really don't even get 40. You're getting 30 when you get to 40. But so yeah, so it's the fact that everything is so tight economically, I can't believe I like this game. But I love it. I love Brian Boru.
Yeah.
So
I'm shocked that this is your number one.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad game. It's just, again, not knowing anything about what John actually likes in the game. This exemplifies it. His number one is Brian Boru. His number two is Godfather.
Yes.
Make that make sense.
yeah, there you go. Yep.
But it's a good one. It's fine. I did. So the only reason, so it's funny. I get these reputations of being hard on games, and it's always unfair. Brian Boru is fine, but the reason this is bad is that me and Chris had initially had an argument that this was going to be a flash in the pan, and that the art was bad. And he's like, "No, this art's beautiful." I was like, "No, this art is bad. No one's going to play it because who's going to look at this and want to play it?" And then John's like, "I want to play it. I think it looks cool." And we're like, "What?"
John is usually a fly to a light, like with the whole artwork stuff. I'll play that. It looks good.
Yeah.
This one for some reason I was like,
I get the art style they're going for. Not for me. I guess if you like the whole like stained glass window look, that's done poorly, then you might like it.
They did it better than something like Heaven and Ale. It looks way better than that game.
No,
way better.
great.
Way better than
It
that.
actually looks like stained glass. Anyways, that's good pick. Good
Thank
pick.
you. Thank
Good
you.
pick. Just again, don't know why you like it.
I don't
but
either.
it's a good
I
game.
really don't either. I think it's the trick taking thing and how the options it gives you. I think that's why.
That's fun. That's fun. All right, well there you go. We did it.
That was our top 50.
Top 50.
Let's do. Oh, we
Viral.
There we go. We did it through the wall. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, let us know. Like, what did your? I know you probably aren't going to give us your top 50 games.
No, but tell us what
maybe
should have been on the list.
Yeah.
What did we miss out on?
And now that you know our flavors and our styles, maybe you can tell me what game John actually might like and help me understand this. But give us suggestions of what games we should give a play, or ask us, hey, I thought you really liked this game. Why isn't it on your list?
If it's me, it'll be, oh, I forgot about it. That's probably what'll happen. Very good chance.
And if it's me, I'll say, because I have too many games.
Or it may be, I played it in the last 6 months and I made this a long time ago.
Yeah, there's that. And also there is a recency bias as well. Like Great Western Trail was an example for me of that. I just played it recently and I was like, wow, I now remember how much I actually like this game. But prior to that, I would have been like, oh, I don't know. Like, do I like it that much? But as soon as you play it, you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yep.
So yeah. Let us know of what we missed. Let us know what your top 3 games. Give me your top 3 games. And remember, leave a comment because that enters you into the contest that we are having that lets anybody who comments enter the contest and they will win one of our number 1 games of all time.
A chance to win.
For a chance to win.
Yes.
Every 200 subscribers we get.
That's right.
So starting at 1,200. So, so subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you think of our list.
Yes, but thanks for watching this one.
Of course.
And we'll see you next time. Around the
board.
There we go. I think that was a successful list.